So this is the new moon in Cancer forecast for the next 30 days for all the members. This is a members only forecast. So we're beginning this cycle of Cancer. You see we have Sun, Moon, and Mars all joined in this new moon. They're very close, within about a degree. So again, that shows a lot of need to be disciplined and strong, and be careful of, again, sliding on your discipline. And you may even notice where your, those activities that tend to knock you off course can be a great catalyst for deeper personal strength now. The things that really knock us off course have to do with wanting to be comfortable, emotionally comfortable, physically comfortable as well. Being around people who take us away from our deeper truth and our deeper principles, but we're around them because, again, we love them, we have some connection to the heart. Or again, just to be honest, we say we love them, but sometimes it's just like habit or conditioning. Again, I would point to something like family members who we allow maybe to define us in a way that doesn't allow us to put our principles into action. And doesn't necessarily our birth family. It can mean family, like a current family, even like a relationship partner, or even a sort of comfort zone that we get in, where we start to crave, again, comfort and predictability and emotional safety and all of that, more than the truth and what we know to be right, and walking the talk. So we all talk a good game when it comes to what we know is right, but how much do we do it? How much do we really put it into practice? So the fact that we have this debilitated Mars join this new moon in Cancer, and it's, the Cancer cycle, this is very important. In the Vedic astrology text, it's pretty clearly stated, and a bit overstated, because they tend to overstate things. Hyperbole is one of their devices. It's a device which allows us, which allows us to make a point. This is why they'll say many times that when the planet is debilitated, it destroys the house that it's in, and those kinds of things. They use words like destroy, well, I should say destroy the sign, or destroy the house that it's in, things like that. So we should be aware of that. And again, because we're having this debilitated Mars with the moon, join the moon in its own sign, there's actually a great potential for that debilitated moon and those areas of life where we're sliding on our discipline, and where we're not walking the talk because of these emotional, psychological weaknesses. Maybe, again, just to restate, because of the people around us, our family members, our close friends, our comfort zone, maybe our romantic partner, whatever, that is keeping us. It's a time to get more disciplined about it. And that doesn't mean get rid of them. That's often, again, what we tend to do. We tend to say, oh yeah, you're the reason I'm not waking up early and doing meditation, because of all the stuff you do, because you're just so not spiritual, and you're so blah blah. You make it hard for me to do that. And again, we got to ask ourselves, is that really true? Is that really the reason? So if you're in that kind of situation, and there are people in your life, or I should say, not if you're in the situation, but to whatever extent you're in that situation, because this is the situation we're in. It's not like, oh, once in a while this happens. This is kind of what always happens. We're never really walking the talk as much as we should be. And again, it might not be other people in your life. It might just be your own emotional weakness. It might just be your own sort of, your own sort of emotional comfort zone, emotional safety zone. So again, now is a great time to resurrect your discipline. And again, it's very poignant now because this Mars is also extremely combust. It's very close to the Sun. And so again, one of the things that happens when the planet is combust, and I draw this distinction, which is different than when the planet is retrograde. Retrograde and combust kind of work in tandem. Retrograde is when the planet's really close to the Earth, and those things tend to back up. Combust is when it's actually very far away from the Earth, but its rays are being burnt up in the Sun. So in many ways, it's actually it's quite empowered, but it's being purified because the Sun purifies things and tends to burn off the physical and psychological qualities of it, and can really give us that sort of pure glimpse of what that energy is. But it often gives us that pure glimpse by showing the frustration and the irritability and the, with that planet. That's why when it's combust, it's called Kopa. This is the deep toddy of Ashta associated with combustion. It's called Kopa, which can translate into angry or frustrated. And the frustration with a combust planet, any combust planet, can lead us to a deeper awareness of it. And often what we can tend to do when a planet is combust is sort of embarrass ourselves with it. So with Mars combust, we might tend to embarrass ourselves with a kind of willful display of discipline or control, trying to control others because we are not in control of ourselves and all of that stuff that I just said. So now is a time where a lot of these things are converging. And on the precipice of this new cycle, especially in Cancer, we can have the wisdom of that. And the wisdom comes through the heart, where we need to be honest and feel deeply into this. And be sensitive to others, be sensitive to ourselves, recognize our weaknesses, recognize our vulnerability, recognize why we are just kind of a dumb emotional animal who can't think straight half the time. And pray for God's grace, And not just pray for God's grace, but then activate it in our life. Do our meditation, do our sadhana, do our yoga, and feel it in the heart. Because again, once we connect to the heart, once something goes in our heart, then it can stick. Just like those family members who it's hard for us to assert our will against them because they're in our heart. Once our sadhana and our love of, once our spiritual practices and our meditation and those things become deeply embedded in our heart, we won't allow ourselves to be separated from them. And we'll establish a good boundary with our family or whatever those other things are that we're telling ourselves is taking us away from those practices. So it's a really good time. Now is the time to build all of that back up again. It's starting on Sunday, July 23rd, and for the next 30 days, building up that muscle, connecting to the heart through personal strength, personal will, and being empowered in that area. So now I'll do the forecast for all 12 signs so each of you can understand how this is going to affect you personally, how this arrives in your life. Because for each person, Cancer is in a different sign. If you're an Aquarius, this is 6th house. So you tend to experience the heart and the feeling and this whole intuition and being embodied through the heart in a 6th house way. For Scorpio, it's in a 9th house way. For Gemini, it's a 2nd house way. So I'll talk about that now for each of the 12 signs for each of you members.